Hi, let's have a look at Polygon, ticker symbol Matic, M-A-T-I-C, currently at $2.20, going slightly down today. Polygon is at market rank 14 with a market cap of a little over 15 billion. Now what's interesting about Polygon Matic is that we are pretty close to the all-time high actually, which is not something you can say about a lot of cryptos right now. Bitcoin and Ethereum, they are somewhat bleeding. And so the question is, does it make sense to shift the assets? Does it make sense to buy Polygon and to potentially jump on this positive momentum? And in order to answer this question, we will not just look at price data. We will not just look at the US dollar chart. We will look at bridge statistics, so how much money has been bridged to the Polygon network. We will look at total value locked statistics, so how much money is locked up in DeFi protocols. And instead of just looking at the US dollar chart where we are close to the all-time high, we will also look at the relative chart to Bitcoin. So the Polygon price divided by the Bitcoin price, the Polygon price divided by the Ethereum price. And last but not least, we will look at valuations relative to competitors. Because even though Polygon is a layer 2 scaling solution of Ethereum, in fact, the usage feels pretty much similar to just bridging your money to a new network, right? It's almost the same as if you were to use, say, the Phantom network. You have to bridge your money, say, from Ethereum to the Phantom network, and then you can use the decentralized apps on that other blockchain. So you look at the relative valuation to Phantom, so the Polygon price divided by the Phantom price, and at relative performance to Solana and Avalanche. So we've got a lot of things to discuss, so let's just jump right in and find out if now the $2.18 is a good price for Polygon. So what I find interesting around the bridge statistics is that after this initial hype phase that we had at the very beginning, we are pretty much consolidating now. This is now the value bridged to the Polygon network. This is the number of daily unique depositors, which also seems to have found some kind of a floor. So of course there was hype in the beginning, but since then we are not bleeding any further. This seems to be somewhat a baseline. And so unless the crypto environment doesn't change entirely, this might simply be the level where we might stay at for a while. Now the value locked stayed stable. The US dollar price in that same time frame went up, right? We are almost at an all-time high now. So where does this actually come from? Now here on DeFi Llama, we can look at the value locked of different blockchains. And Polygon is at number 7, slightly above Phantom and slightly below Tron. And when we dive into the details of the Polygon chain, we can see again a very similar trend, an initial hype phase and now a sideways consolidation. The main applications where this value is locked is Aave, a DeFi protocol where you can borrow and lend, QuickSwap and SushiSwap, which are decentralized exchanges where you can simply swap your tokens. Then we've got Curve, which is also mainly used for DeFi. So on Curve, the Polygon-based Curve, you can, for example, deposit your stablecoins, DAI, USDC, USDT, and you can earn an annual return of 5.9% on the stablecoin, plus 1.5% paid out in CRV token, so that's the Curve token, and 2.9% in wrapped Polygon Matic tokens. So that kind of return is simply generated by the swapping activity on the Curve platform, and so Curve is at number 4. And a lot of these applications, they are related to DeFi. Climber DAO, for example, is an Olympus DAO fork, which is a bit more risky. That's not just simply getting return through swapping fees, but that is based on a rebasement mechanism. But in general, what's interesting to note is that most of those applications over here, they are very solid projects. This looks pretty different to, for example, Avalanche, where we have way more risky projects, way more Olympus DAO forking going on. These here are long-term use cases. So I don't expect the total value locked to completely collapse over here. This seems to be a fair level in terms of value locked. Now let's jump into the prices. Let's look at the relative valuations to figure out how cheap or expensive is Polygon Matic right now. So firstly, we can note is that the current trading volume is not particularly high, which is a positive sign. Usually when trading volume is very high, on any cryptocurrency, you tend to have elevated prices, which then means once trading volume reverts back to normal levels, the price follows. So I do have some kind of correlation between attention on a token, trading volume of a token, and the price of a token. So if you're considering to sell whenever there's a rally, look at the trading volume. When the trading volume is historically high, that's potentially a good time to sell. And that's not just true for Polygon Matic, that's true for any cryptocurrency. Now the trading volume is slightly elevated, but it's not as high as it has been before. So it doesn't look particularly heated right now with Polygon. There doesn't seem to be incredibly much attention on the token, which is positive. Now here's the relative performance to Bitcoin, where we did see some kind of a sideways trading range for quite a while, right? Since May of this year, we are just ping-ponging back and forth. The real rally of Polygon Matic started at the beginning of the year, where we got a 100x outperformance. Now that outperformance is massive. The timing though, since beginning of the year, isn't that surprising, because a lot of altcoins, they gained ground since beginning of the year. The Bitcoin dominance, it started falling since beginning of the year from 72% to currently 41%. So the dominance falling is simply another expression of the altcoins rallying. And that's exactly what we have seen here with Polygon Matic. And so if we stay in this potential sideways trading range, which I don't see has to happen, our potential risk versus Bitcoin is around 53%. Our potential reward is around 30%. So not too cheap in terms of Bitcoin. This is the same picture for Ethereum. Very similar, right? Again, the rally since beginning of the year. And very interesting, right? There seems to be this sideways trading range for quite a while right now. Here, the risk versus reward looks a little bit better because Ethereum did better since beginning of the year versus Bitcoin, right? So this is 57% potential gain, 40% potential loss. So pretty much balanced. So versus the traditional assets versus the large cryptocurrencies, Matic seems to be either relatively expensive or somewhat balanced. Now in the end, the US dollar valuation does have a lot to do with where general crypto is going, right? If Bitcoin is going down, if Ethereum is going down, it's very likely that Polygon will not do too well as well. And so the next charts here versus Phantom and versus Solana versus Avalanche, they are not necessarily an expression of how the US dollar valuation of Polygon will develop. Because it might very well happen that Polygon Matic can outperform the competitors, but still go down in terms of US dollars, simply because all of crypto is going down. If you're wondering where I see the overall crypto market going in, say, the next weeks, feel free to check out related videos on this channel around Bitcoin and around Ethereum. I won't spoil that, so feel free to look this up by yourself. But if you brush this aside, how is Polygon Matic doing versus the competition? And that's now layer 1 solutions. I know Polygon is not clearly a layer 1 solution, it's a scaling solution for Ethereum, but in practice it really feels simply just like another blockchain. You can't, for example, trade the Ethereum-based NFTs using the Polygon network. You have to use specific NFTs for that. You can't just use your regular Ethereum and attach some kind of Polygon mechanism to it to trade. You have to bridge your money over. The behavior is pretty much similar, at least in terms of user experience, to just using another blockchain. And so this is Matic versus Phantom, where again, we are neither very expensive. So this would be Matic being expensive versus Phantom, nor very cheap. Very balanced in this relative valuation. Here is Matic versus Solana. And Solana has come quite a long way, right? It has risen a lot. And it's very hard to tell if this trading range here will stay intact. The potential gain is a 4x. The potential loss is 44%, maybe 56%. There's not too much history on this chart, but the current momentum looks positive for Polygon. Last but not least, Polygon Matic versus AVAX. And the reason why this is interesting is simply because Polygon is very close to Phantom. It's also relatively close to Solana and Avalanche in terms of value locked for the DeFi applications. And so here again, not incredibly cheap, not incredibly expensive. So this is interesting, right? Once you look at these relative charts, what looks like a very heated price, which looks like we are close to the all-time high, once you put this into perspective to the competition, it doesn't look that heated at all anymore, right? It looks rather cheap or somewhat balanced. So again, versus Phantom, versus Solana, versus AVAX. These charts, they look very different to the US dollar chart. And so I think there is probably more ways to grow over here. There is more potential. We are not very heated in terms of trading volume. We are not very expensive versus competitors. So if you are bullish on crypto as a whole, right? Because the correlation between altcoins and Bitcoin and Ethereum, it is pretty high. If you are bullish in general around crypto in the next weeks, then I do think Polygon is likely going to outperform the competition. it's unlikely at least to underperform. Simply the valuations, they don't look too bad. The attention isn't too high. So a new all-time high in terms of US dollars is very likely in my opinion, if Bitcoin and Ethereum don't continue to fall. But of course, that's a big if. If Bitcoin continues to disappoint, and I mean, it is pretty disappointing, right? Most people are calling for 100K by end of the year. That's pretty much off the table now. If it continues to disappoint, Polygon is more than likely to bleed as well. So the way I see this is, try to be flexible and be prepared for whatever happens. Don't put all your money into Polygon right now, simply in case crypto does turn further bearish. Keep some money off the table in case there are lower prices that give better opportunities. However, if you're currently in Polygon and you're bullish on crypto as a whole, I don't think you have to be worried that Polygon will massively underperform the rest of crypto just because it's close to the all-time high. I think that kind of fear is pretty much unjustified. And so if you appreciate this kind of objective analysis, not just simply a Polygon will go to the moon kind of video, then feel free to give this a thumbs up. It will help the channel grow. And you might also check the premium membership. You can find that at thebitcoinstrategy.com. I give daily market updates on Bitcoin and on Ethereum for the premium members. There's also regular tutorials on how to do technical analysis, on how to manage a portfolio. And of course, there's the private Telegram channel where you can ask me any questions. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. I publish videos regularly. And last but not least, there's a public Telegram channel as well. We are more than 1,000 people over there. The link is in the video description, or you can simply search for Bitcoin Strategy channel within the Telegram app. See you next time. Bye-bye.